Well, today is World Mental Health Day. It's a day set aside to ensure that we are abreast with the issues of mental health. Remember that for every one of us, once you have a brain, you have mind, you think about things, you even feel things, you are at any point in time, you have to fall within some categories. It's not about you removing your clothes and being in tattered clothes on the streets. No, even depression, for which we are going to be dealing with the stats or the statistics pretty soon. And the chair is Social Care Commissioner, Bestel Foundation. And also Priyanka Bagaria is International Wellness Trainer, the Art of Living Foundation. Gentlemen and lady, thank you very much for your time here. Let me start off with Priyanka. What's the Art of Living Foundation? What do you do there for the purposes of people who are watching us?
So Art of Living is an international NGO. It is one of the largest volunteer-driven NGOs in the world. Today we are 42-year-old and present in 178 countries.
I see. Wow.
Yeah.
How about you, Bestel Foundation?
Well, Bestel is it originated from the UK, where it was set up to help provide intervention for people of black and minority ethnic groups who have specific mental health conditions, particularly in relation to that significant mental health inequalities, particularly for us in the black community, in the diaspora. There are significant populations. Particularly we started in South London, where there are huge demographics of black and minority populations. But we are the whole Bestel was set essentially to provide that kind of to try to break those health inequalities within the black and minority ethnic communities. Because within our populations, people have real there's quite significant problems caused by deep social economic pressures, pressures around unemployment, around housing, around immigration. So these are critical triggers exactly for mental health problems within the community. Now, in relation to that, the whole ethos, of Bestel is to try to provide a kind of community support and prevent an exacerbation of those kind of stress conditions within the black and ethnic minority community.
That's exciting. That's exciting. It's interesting that. So maybe someday we'll sit down and talk about why it's always the black minority, because a lot of people find ways. I'm too sure they also have. Yes, you can talk about immigration problems they do not have, but the other ones, people find ways to come out of it. And so we'll try and sit down and talk about it.
Those are structural issues.
Absolutely.
With that,
so we can talk about it and see whatever. But I mean, the fact that there is a statistic, or of course, there's data out there that by 2030, the WHO estimates that some 1 billion people in the world would have to struggle with issues of mental health, and leading that data will be depression, which we've started seeing even as young as I am. My friends, myself, we're dealing with some forms of depression. It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because especially after COVID, it is said that mental health will be the next pandemic. So we are, something is facing us and we need to accept this reality. Right? Today, there has been so much anxiety and uncertainty, not because of COVID, but because of the economic recession which has preceded COVID, and because of the inability of people to handle the situation. So it all arises from the mind. If your mind is strong, you can take charge of any situation, because the situation is never in your control, but you can have some say over your mind. And that is what we teach in the Art of Living. Today, we have been able to positively impact more than 500 million people across the world.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Just by your strategies and what you
We run a workshop.
Okay, workshops around.
Yeah. So it has to be practical, because, if I tell you, okay, don't get angry, or if I tell you, oh, be peaceful, be calm, everything will be all right. But your question will be, how? Teach me, give me some techniques. So we do a breath work technique. which helps you to relax and calm down, because breath is connected with your emotions. So this is taught in our happiness workshop. It's called the happiness program.
I see.
And it's been formulated by our founder, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar.
Okay.
So we have been in this mental space for 42 years,
I see.
mental health space, and that is our core. How we can bring about a mindset change only by addressing little bit to your breathing and some mindfulness techniques.
I see. So that's what Priyanka says. The most important thing, I mean, that's a bit crucial as well, is that a lot of people are going to be asking, as much as the problems are there, we are going to think about it, and that exacerbates the situation. But then again, it's not really solving it. So can we ever prevent these issues of mental health?
So that makes the intervention strategies really critical, you know, because they're never going to go away. And the thing with mental health is that sometimes we all walk around like we don't know that we have these mental health conditions, particularly around stress and depression conditions.
Right.
You know, people walk around, you know, they just, you know, like we said, you know, we don't need to take our clothes off to know that we have a mental health issue. Mental health issues are around the state of your psychological well-being.
Indeed.
So essentially, that is what it is. Now, so if there are triggers, you know, that make us depressive, stressful, anxious, you know, sometimes, you know, there are all levels of anxiety or these stress conditions, you know, because there are, you know, issues around people get suicidal, for example. They have all kind of suicidal ideation, for example. You know, then we get into that stage that it becomes critical. Now, so in terms of coping, you know, what Bessel does, you know, is to provide early intervention action, early intervention support, you know, for people in the diaspora, you know, so that, you know, the conditions do not exacerbate to the extent that they would need, you know, secondary or acute intervention. That is much more expensive and that is much more institutionalized. You know, so what our intention is to prevent that kind of institutionalization of mental health, you know, so to speak,
I see.
you know, within our communities. You know, so what we have done is we've developed a community outreach model, you know, that we, you know, so we actually intervene within the communities, you know, before the situation gets worse.
I see.
You know,
Today, when I tell friends or family or even people around me that after the show, I'll be going to Pantine. Do you know where Pantine is? Okay. Or I'll be going to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
Okay.
There's going to be, okay. Because, are you mad? Because they believe that it's only mad people that go there, or people who are extremely caught up in these issues. The stigma and discrimination is the issue, big issue. Once that you might not even get a job if you have a history, or maybe you are dealt with everything, or just a history of issues of mental health could take you off job. How do we deal with that? And it's so institutionalized, yeah.
And it's quite interesting that.
Okay, you can come. Then
it's quite interesting. You know, these are some of the issues. You know, within our communities,
right.
You know, there are, you know, there's such deep cultural stereotypes of people who have mental health issues, or even a perception of mental health issues. You know, within our communities, it's not only in the UK, you know, where we started, but even, you know, probably much more pervasive, you know, here. You know, that there is this kind of cultural stereotypes. You know, for example, it's very difficult to have a parent, for example, accept that his or her child is ill, has a mental health issue, has a mental health condition, and needs support. You know, so these are the kind of the barriers, these are the kind of the bottlenecks, the hindrances that we try to break down, you know, by actually engaging them, you know, by using the community approach.
I see.
You know, so,
So how do you deal with that stigma and discrimination? And it's more institutionalized and established in our minds.
So a lot of awareness is required, and a lot of acceptance. Like if you go to a school, even in the leading international schools today, we have a counselor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even all the best of the universities around the world, we have counselors.
Have you checked our senior high schools to see
Yes,
what that
yes,
we
I'm
do?
talking about Ghana.
Okay, but have you checked
Yes, yes.
all of them?
Not all of them, but few
Most
of them.
of them? A
Yes,
few.
schools and universities. So why is there a need of counselors in schools and universities today? Because it is starting at a very low age, at a very tender age, especially after COVID. As I was speaking, because of the lockdown and loneliness and anxiety and uncertainty and anger and aggression, it has all piled up. So there has to be attention, there has to be awareness, and there has to be acceptance. So today we have created school and university programs. So our Sky Happiness University program is offered as a credit program in more than 107 leading universities of United States,
I see.
including Yale, Harvard, Stanford, University of Pennsylvania, you may name it, and it is there. Because medication can treat a problem and then can addict you to that medication. But here, if we look at our own mind, the subtle aspects of the mind, it can be dealt at as a preventive option for only through breath work and meditation. So we have to go back to our core. Like when you're angry, somebody will just tell you, take some deep breaths, relax, relax, isn't it? We all have been doing this, right? Because breath is connected with emotions. When you're angry, your breath becomes very fast. When, like right now in this setup, when we are relaxed, our breath is very subtle. You can't even feel that you're breathing.
Yeah.
When you're crying, your breath is distorted. It is very shallow. So there is a direct connection between your emotion and your breath. So in the breath work that we teach, is called Sky Sudarshan Kriya Yoga. Here it helps you to align your emotion in a more centered and a balanced manner. It's like reprogramming your mind. And then you have much more clarity, confidence, because the situations and events in your life is not in your control, right? When you step out of the studio, you don't know what the day is going to throw at you. But if you have your mind in place, if you have it centered and balanced, you can handle any situation. And that is what, our program teaches us. And it's something very basic. You just do it for 20-30 minutes a day, and then you're set for the day.
I see. So the issue then about even accepting that I have a problem is key. So forget about the environment, even me, and the fact that I have a problem. I could see that no, I'm not too stable in the mind, because a lot of the places you have mentioned, they have been socialized in a way that they now understand that if I have a problem and I can feel it, I have to go for help. But here, it's so established that even if I have a problem, I'm afraid to even speak about it. So again, would I have to go about awareness indeed?
So, our workshop is a very open workshop. It is not for people who have a mental health issue. It is for all those people who want a better quality of life, who want to be healthier and happier. So if you're doing some breath work, it only brings more, clarity, joy, and happiness in your life. It provides you the life skills by which you are able to achieve all that you want to achieve in life in a much healthier and a happier way. Because stress is eating all of us up. Who doesn't want to be stress-free and happy? Who doesn't want more confidence and clarity in life? Who doesn't want to live a life which is full of love and compassion? It is just because of stress that we are not able to exhibit our true nature.
Right.
Right. So it's a very open workshop which has a lot of activities, processes, and techniques, and it's something which is very fun-filled. So it is not like a marginalized. It's not for a marginalized group.
Okay.
So people
it's open to everyone.
People from all walks of life, like corporates, professionals, managers, school students, youth, everybody come and join this program just to have a healthier and a happier lifestyle.
I see. At what point do I know that I'm unwell? What are some of the signs where I'd have to, Charlie, I have to fix myself, man? I have to.
That's a really good question. No, because like it's subtle. Mental health is quite subtle. But then there are instances, where, for example, people get easily irritable. Let's say, when people get irritable, then you need to, for example, be on the lookout for conditions like that. Or they could get suicidal. They have all kinds of funny thoughts. And one of the things, about, there are sometimes we're quite interested in mental health issues around our young people. You know, you see a child stops eating well, he has an eating disorder. There might be a mental health issues around what we call body dystrophia, for example. The child might not like the look of his body, particularly among our teenage girls. So she stops eating. She doesn't want to eat, or she has a condition, bulimia, for example. She eats and throws up. So these are kind of these subtle things, that that we need to look out for. But then the danger about some of these conditions, particularly acute, stress and depressive conditions, is that what we call the contextual, the things that arise out of those stress conditions. For example, people become, in the UK, for example, we have this, it's really, really common. We have drug and alcohol abuse, domestic violence, for example. These are contextual, contextual signs, of mental health. When people get stressed, when they get stress conditions, they take it out on family, they take it out on their parents, and things like that. So these are some of the trigger point that we need to look out for. Particularly, people get irritable, they have aggressive behavior. Among children, it might be oppositional behavior. They would, at any point in time, oppose whatever. But sometimes we just say, oh, I could not afford it. It's sometimes it's not just saying affording, but then we need to be really focused. We need to actually look out for those are signs of stress conditions in a child.